Have you ever wanted to make your own clothes, toys, or blankets? Perhaps you never thought you could. Today, I will show you the basics of crocheting so that you can get started making your first handmade project. Crocheting is often thought of as a hobby for older people, but as I have learned in the last 4 years of practicing and teaching myself, it can be a fun, creative, and relaxing activity at any age. In this speech, I will explain the material you will need to get started, as well as teach you 3 basic stitches, and I will provide some helpful tips. To begin, you will need 2 things, a crochet hook and a ball of yarn. Crochet hooks come in various sizes, and yarn comes in various weights and thicknesses. The size hook that you would need and the weight of yarn will depend on your project and what you are making. To hold a hook, place it in your dominant hand. Either hold it like a pencil or like a knife, depending on what's most comfortable for you. In your opposite hand, you will maneuver your yarn. Now I will demonstrate 3 basic stitches used in crochet. Most projects, the starting point will be to make a slip knot. To make a slip knot, pinch your yarn in between your index and thumb. Wrap it around 3 fingers. Wrap it around a second time and make an X. Take your hook, place it under that first strand of yarn, and grab hold of that top piece. Let go and hold on to those 2 strands of yarn while lifting up with your hook. You've now made an adjustable loop. Slip knots are used to attach your yarn to your hook. The second stitch that I want to show you is called a chain stitch. Hold on to your yarn right about so, and wrap your yarn around your hook, pulling it through that slip knot. You now have 1 chain stitch. The number of chain stitches you would need to make would depend on what you are making. For demonstration purposes, I have already created a row of chain stitches so that you could see what that would look like. The last stitch that I want to show you is called a single crochet stitch. With your hook and yarn still attached, enter your hook into that last chain stitch that we created. Yarn over and pull that yarn through that loop. You now have 2 loops on your hook. Wrap your yarn around your hook one more time and pull through both of those 2 loops. You now have made your first single crochet stitch. You would continue making single crochet stitches until you got to the end of your row. Single crochet would look something like this, and multiple rows of it would look something like this. Notice how the stitch is taller than the previous ones, and the more rows that you make, the larger your project will get. Here are just a few other examples of things that you can make in crochet. Now, to provide some tips, I suggest all beginners select a larger hook as well as thicker yarn. Thicker yarn will allow you to learn to see where you're stitching into, and it will help you learn how to identify the dozens of stitches in crochet. A larger hook will make it easier to learn with as you get acclimated with holding a hook. Also, keep your first project simple. Work on a dishcloth, a scarf, maybe even a headband. Lastly, don't be afraid to make mistakes in crochet. It's very easy to undo your work so that you're not wasting material. You simply grab hold of your yarn, pull and unravel, so you could start again. To recap, today I have taught you the 2 main materials you will need to get started. I've also taught you 3 stitches, the slip knot, the chain stitch, and the single crochet stitch. I've also provided you some helpful tips. Keep in mind, crocheting is a skill that takes practice. So don't be discouraged if it feels tricky at first. The more you practice, the better you will get. Also, if you're interested in learning how to crochet, I encourage you to visit your local craft store, purchase some inexpensive yarn and a few hooks, and take advantage of the endless tutorials available on YouTube. Thank you for your time and happy crocheting.